Yeah, it looks like both players ready. Hikaru representing TSM, his esports Oregon. We're off here. Hikaru gets the white piece and starts the E4. We're getting a Sicilian. That actually surprised me for a bullet game.
Yep. And wow, look at this. I think that this position already speaks to kingside pressure. And I'm looking at the cam from Firouzja. It almost looks like he's playing on his phone.
Oh, yeah, he's looking down there. He's trying to figure out what's going on. He should look at his kingside because there's a bishop on d3 staring at the h7 pawn, and black has to go for knight a5 at some point, but instead he throws an h6. This is actually going to be a problem for him. Queen d3. When he played g6, the h6 pawn will hang.
Yeah, you're calling it. This is very unpleasant. Queen d3, aiming at h7. He played f5 to deal with that, but it doesn't really deal with it. Rook f5 is such a shaky defense.
And you know what doesn't deal with this? Look at the clock, by the way. Hikaru has 48 seconds. He's up 20 full seconds against Firouzja, and Firouzja's king is being hunted.
Yeah, not acceptable. And look at this. I mean, f4, all this, but look at the time. I feel like he actually is playing on his phone.
No way. That would be pretty absurd. His bishop's getting trapped, so that's not
Queen
good
h7.
for him. Yeah, just up a full rook. If I'm Alireza, I think I've had enough in game one. I'm moving on to game two.
Yeah, so weird. So weird. This is not a good start. Excuse me, not a good start for Alireza at all.
Although Hikaru is making this a bit more complicated than probably he needed to. That king on g1, there's some air in front of it. And queen g4 check, queen h3. Now you can take on b3 and you take the bishop at the end.
It's the time, though. He's down 20 seconds. It's just never going to be enough.
Yeah, Hikaru very smartly brings that queen back to d3.
How many pawns does he have, by the way? He has 5 pawns.
He has enough. And black might not even be worse anymore.
Yeah, he has to resign because of the time. But honestly, I probably called that one early based on the time alone. But even based on the position, I think I called it too early. That was really impressive that Alireza made a game out of that.
But Alireza has a clear blueprint of what not to do. You cannot be down 20 seconds on the clock to Hikaru. And look at Hikaru trading queens here. You have to, because if you move the knight back, you lose d4, b2. If you don't move the knight back, you're going to lose your knight. And we see the trade here in king to d2. Play against this French bishop. Just try to clog the d4 square.
He's going to kick that knight out, and back to c6 we go. And you cannot easily go bishop to b7. You better bishop d7 to get out of the pin.
That's right. But c takes d4. I think you can get away with that for now. He said he trades the bishops. That's the bad French bishop. You might as well get rid of it. And, pawn sacrifice.
Like that move. That knight on c4 is going to be strong.
And he's allowing knight b2 and just running his king away. Is knight e1, knight d3 the idea? What? Rook takes c3.
What?
Oh my gosh, he just blundered a piece.
No, this is there's something funny going on with Alireza right now. Somehow he seems like he's totally off, like slower, not as tactically alert. He needs to regroup and get back in this match ASAP with the next game.
So remind everybody of what you were saying about wearing chess bra apparel and better chess.
Well, he's leaning down so far, Robert. You can't see the shirt.
That's true. That's true.
Sit up straight. Stop playing on your phone, Alireza. Let's get some energy in here.
Do we actually have any confirmation that he's playing on his computer? I mean, we have the fair play cams and everything, so it does look like he is playing on his phone the way he's angled. This doesn't look good for his back. So, if any chiropractors are out there, it's okay. He's young. He'll be all right. But bishop takes h6 is a threat, by the way. So watch out for bishop h6. The bishop is on e7, but I'm looking for that if the bishop ever leaves the e7 square.
Queen b2. You're also looking for that move, trying to bait bishop h7 check.
Right. And just maneuvering by Hikaru. He's up 10 seconds. Seriously, like every game he's up 10 seconds. Like it's
no, but this is it's unacceptable speed. I don't know why he's so slow. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not sure. I've never seen Alireza really play this way.
And we're being told he's playing on his laptop rather than on his monitor. And well, maybe he should go back to the monitor because this is not working out for him. Hikaru jumps to a 2-0 lead, and very impressive play by Hikaru once again in this game. Look at all the control over the position. Black has no active play, and that causes you to burn time if you're Alireza.
It definitely does.
Oh my gosh.
Look at these bishops. Just one bishop and then 2 bishops. C4, H4, and all of a sudden he's winning material on that head bob from Hikaru Nakamura.
Yeah, he should be feeling it right now. I'm like G5, you can just take it, but the rook on A5 came to the rescue. So maybe the head bob is a little bit too soon, but the clock, once again, the clock is telling the story here.
The clock speaks volumes. Obviously, he needed to take that rook before recapturing on D4. A little bit hasty.
He blundered the piece. He just blundered the piece. And Queen F6 is a great move. Queen F2. Oh, the rook's hanging too.
The rook's hanging.
Oh, and he resigned. Wow. I don't know if I would have resigned there because Alireza only had 9 seconds remaining, but that is a sign of respect. Like, whoa, I can't get ahead of myself here. Alireza fights back in that game
Yep.
and he cuts the deficit in half. And now he has chances once again. Amazing how if he lost, we would have thought, oh, this match might
Yep.
be over.
Right.
Now he's right back in this thing.
Completely. And I mean, I've never seen a head bob go so wrong.
Oh my gosh, 95 and E6. He just
No,
sacks a piece.
this is going to be like a masterpiece if this works out.
And EF7, King F7, I don't see a follow-up.
Well, it's going to be a masterpiece for either player if this works out, because if Hikaru defends this, that's also very impressive.
Yeah, it looked like a good sacrifice at first, but Hikaru just pushes King on F7. I'm sorry I cut you off there, but I saw the piece sacrifice and it was exciting. And honestly, it looks like Hikaru's going to put a 9 F5 and there goes your attack.
And it's crazy how it just went from something to nothing. Like, now it's just, there's no threats at all.
Yeah, there probably was something there, but you needed pinpoint accuracy. And Alireza just didn't have. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's angry Hikaru.
Yep. That's bounce back Hikaru.
Yeah, that really is. And Alireza needed that game. You know, he would have tied up the match. All the momentum would have swung his way. And now we're getting one of the Naroditsky tank playbook. We saw this.
We have. And yeah, I feel like an expert on this line already, especially for Bullet. He's going bishop back to c2. And how many times have we seen that, queen d3 idea being threatened in this match?
Okay, well, we have a rook trade, g5 play that does expose the black king. But Alireza's claim is that you don't have pieces to go and attack me with. And that knight on the c5 is really strong.
Yeah, rook e2, though. Good counterplay. A4 by white when he gets the moment. And the moment's now, he says, attacks that bishop, which doesn't have a lot of places to go.
So it goes bishop c4. If that bishop moves, the b2 pawn, okay, it was hanging, but that's why the knight took. And I like Alireza's control of this position. Knight come to e4.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like black has all of the activity.
Yeah, I was even thinking maybe queen e4 was possible to trade queens and then get the knight in for the same idea.
Well, here comes c5, drops the d5 pawn. Wait, rook e1? Pins everywhere. But
who's pinning who here, Robert?
It looks like white is pinning black because that knight e4 is actually under attack. The knight d3 is protected. And queen d... What a move to play.
Probably the only move to play.
And what's the count? 2 extra pawns for white. So Hikaru objectively doing very well here.
Mm-hmm.
Knight... Oh, rook c1, knight f1. But
yep.
I don't even know if that worked.
He has ideas there. Well, look at this game by Alireza. I feel like he's been so tricky right now.
Wrong move. Because he was expecting rook d7, so he played a6, and Hikaru smartly played rook d6 in anticipation of that move. But look at the clock, by the way. Alireza is getting close here. Rook takes b6 and rook a6.
Yeah.
Rook a6. Okay, it goes rook e8. But this probably is objectively lost for black, but practically speaking, in a time scramble, you can maybe.
So, Robert, do you think he's about to grab the a7 pawn at the right moment?
Yeah, I think Hikaru's waiting for that. He watched that match for sure yesterday. But you can't. It's check now. Oh, wait. What did Hikaru just do?
He moved his rook. He's going to get flagged here.
Oh, my gosh. He tricked him. And Oliver's trying to win on the clock. He's trying to dirty flag him, but he might get flagged.
He might get flagged.
Oh, and Hikaru wins. Hikaru wins. What a game that was. And we see just the disbelief on Hikaru's face that he flagged Alireza from that. And Alireza leads further into the laptop. And he is down 3 points to Hikaru Nakamura.
I wouldn't be surprised if everyone watching at home, if Alireza's head just shows up in your living room, he's about to enter that computer screen. Wow, I can't believe that, Robert. That was insane. I thought that with that dirty move, rook a1, he had it in the bag.
It seemed to be the case, and I'm sure that Hikaru felt the same way. And all of a sudden, he turns it around. And this is the exact type of system that gave Alireza trouble against Vladislav Artemiev. I said it probably more the same from Hikaru. He loves these types of setups. And the problem for, not anymore. E6 coming your way soon?
You're not loving this setup, that's for sure.
No, I liked it before when it was closed. Now that it's open, I hate it. But Alireza said, it's not his type of game. He wants the tactical play. And E6 doesn't quite work because the queen will take on E6. But that was barely an escape there by Hikaru.
100%. Still a great position for Alireza. He's obviously got the bishop pair, better pawn structure, bishop on g7, not even doing anything. And look at this move, knight e4.
Yeah, he gives up the bishop pair to give black the worst pawn structure. And as you're pointing out, the bishop on g7 is kind of useless. So the pawn chain from b2 to e5 connect 4 also wins in chess, and this looks great for Alireza.
Yeah, take that pawn. Still, though, Hikaru's going to establish a knight on d5, which is tricky. And it's really the bishop on g7, which is the issue.
Okay, so he's just trying to go after this white king, actually, and he takes on. Well, it was an interesting choice to take on g7, but Alireza is a little bit ahead on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
Puts his bishop to king 2, rook e2, and just try to get the e-pawn going at the right moment. But Hikaru stops.
Knight e3. Yeah, there's a knight e3.
Wow. Tricky. Bishop d2 comes, though, at the end. Queen, bishop d2.
Wow. And, okay, I was thinking maybe rook takes d2. Play with the knight against the rook, but he decides to just go down a piece, which I don't think I agree with, because pre-move's so easy for white here.
You just throw in a check, rook e5. You can just, and look at this. Trade king c3, king c4. Just pre-move that, and Alireza takes that one. So he is maybe a bit faster, even though Hikaru won that time scramble before. I don't know. I get the feeling that Alireza wants that exact scenario where they're both scrambling with just 2 seconds left because he trusts his mouse speed.
100%. 100%. Like, that's why, honestly, I was so impressed, because that is Alireza's wheelhouse, where he had Hikaru previously. So impressive by Hikaru that he was able to come back from that and beat Alireza at his own game, flagging him.
And look at this position. This looks great for black. You control the open A file. The E5 pawn is a target. The B3 pawn is a target. Knight takes B3 is a free pawn. Mm-hmm. Alireza is playing really well right now.
He sure is. Bishop to h3, knight g5. I was about to say kick him right back where he came from. Can't take on f5 because of knight f3 fork.
Oh, look at rook a4. The knights are protecting one another. They're not superfluous here. They're doing a great job. And the f5 pawn is actually essential because that gave black additional flexibility.
Yeah, this is a great game by Alireza, but he needs to put it away. He needs to come back in this match. This is a perfect game to start doing that.
And look at bishop d4, tactically defending the knight in c3 if there was a trade, because knight e2 check ideas. And so king f8, the knight's in there for white. Wow. Hikaru just walks in the pin and doesn't mind. It feels like some kind of knight g4, knight f1, rook e2 mate, but how do you make that work?
Yeah, I mean,
F6.
rook f1 doesn't threaten anything.
He had f6 there, just kick the knight e6 first. Wait, that drops the f7 pawn with check. I was saying don't drop f7, which is why I played e6, and then I dropped f7 with check.
h5, I was going to say he wants to sink that knight in, and that is a checkmate. Or if you take the knight, well, hang on, that's another checkmate.
Wow. So it is 4-3, just like that. A 3-game lead is now down to 1. Hikaru probably feeling some of the pressure here. And Alireza, his form has improved the more games that are played.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like he's getting used to that laptop that he's playing on, because one thing when you start streaming, Roberts, you actually do get used to playing on the monitor and with that setup every single day. So he might have always played Bullet on his laptop, goes back to it, and suddenly he's just a little, out of sorts.
Well, getting used to setups is important, especially in chess. I mean, look at this. Right now, Alireza pushes black back. He gets rid of that bishop on g4 so he can push his pawn there. And, I mean, all things considered, this looks like what you want from the white side, because you have all the space on the king side in the center. f5 is an idea. You can play g5, knight f2, knight g4 at some point, trying to get your knight into f6. So I like what Alireza is doing here.
Yeah, the knight on e4, though, for black is really nice. Basically, if black can take his bishop, maybe throw it on c5, I think he'd be very happy. The bishop on g7 is not where it wants to be.
Wow, an f5 creating a weakness in e6, a French-like idea that could pay off, but I think actually the e6 pawn is very weak here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's just going to triple on the e-file. However, watch that f4 pawn after bishop takes d4.
Okay, well, that bishop sinks into the e5 square. Uh-oh, opening the f-file might not be such a good idea. White gets this outside pass pawn, but bishop g5.
He runs into this because he missed queen g6 check, I think. That was a really important insertion.
And now it's an extra exchange, but that king on b7 is not safe. So even though black's up material and time, there is some hope here for Alireza because of that lack of king safety.
Yeah, and rook e8. Nicely done. He keeps the queen off the 7th and the 8th rank.
Okay, but down goes this pawn. Queen e5 was the idea. So queen e4, great move by Hikaru. Queen check, and e5 winning the g4 pawn.
Wow.
And now the white king looks like it's about to get checkmated.
And look how safe that king is on a6.
And here it goes. Rook e4 going to e1 with check.
Rook e2, and he's just making steady progress. Really impressive.
And queen b3. There's no check for white, so he gets the mate. And one more game before the break. Whew. 5-3 Hikaru. That was a huge game for him to stop the bleeding. He was losing a bunch of games there. Now he gets a win, 2-game lead once more. And this game will be essential because the 2-point lead, if that becomes 3 heading into the break, that's bad news for Alireza.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned how important the last game was. I think this one is critical for the match because you mentioned it. If Alireza is down 3 points going into the break, that is a tough lead to overcome. He's going to need a comeback, the likes of which we've seen from, Andrew Tang down 5-1.
And even from Alireza yesterday to storm back when he shouldn't even had a chance to against Artemiev. And look at these knights and look at them clamping on the position. These pawns for white, taking control of the whole board. The bishop on b7 is useless right now. You would love to play c5, but guess what? There's a knight on c5 now, a pawn there. That light squared bishop is no good.
Sometimes in positions like that, you play the move c5 as black, give up an entire pawn just to open the diagonal, because look at the future of that bishop on c8. It's not that bright at the moment until, you play e5 and things change.
But that was a really good decision by Alireza. Even though he's down a pawn right now, he's opening that bishop. You got bishop f5's coming. Oh, that is a bad time for Hikaru to see e5. And look at this, the attack against the white king.
And, well, I said until things change, things have changed.
Things have definitely changed. They're doubling rooks on the second rank here. Rook to d2. Oh, he takes the a4 pawn. Okay, that still looks good. Now rook to... Wait, knight g6 is a mating net.
Yeah, knight g6.
Oh, no.
You got to play king h7, king h6.
No, but rook h4.
Oh, my goodness. Everything's mate, Robert.
Rook takes b4, and then rook e8 is mate by force.
Yeah.
And Alireza, he grimaces there. That is a huge victory for Hikaru Nakamura, who's now up 6-3. And Aman, we just saw out of the gates, Hikaru came with some fine form, took a big lead. Alireza swindled his way back a little bit there, and now the lead is ballooned to 3 once more. If you're Alireza's coach, what do you tell him?
Happy there's a break. Really good timing for him. It was starting to really pull away, and that's what Hikaru can do. I've mentioned it time and time again. When you're playing Hikaru, the games just start adding up, and you're like trying to do the math. How did I get down 3 games? Where did that come from? He does it in just a very casual manner, but Alireza, I'm trying to remember some of the openings that he had, and I actually did like most of the openings that he got with the white pieces against Hikaru's setup, that sort of c6, e6, like modern looking position that Hikaru likes to go for. I think Alireza should keep going for that because his positions have been good there, albeit the last time they had the game, he was getting outplayed by Hikaru, but I feel like the openings there are always great. Definitely something to go back to.
And from Hikaru's perspective, I would say game 8 rather, instead of this last one here, the one before when Hikaru was black, that was a really great game by him where he went up the exchange, converted with ease, checkmated Alireza. It seems like Hikaru, he stopped his problems by losing 2 in a row, and then he's back, but the break comes at a good time. We are going to take it. We'll be back shortly with more from this Bullet Chess Championship presented by SIG semifinal between Hikaru Nakamura and Alireza Firouzja. All right, and we see here the winner of Hikaru Nakamura Alireza Firouzja match takes on Andrew Tang, who is eagerly awaiting his opponent for the final. Aman, Hikaru has jumped out to a 6-3 lead. He's doing extremely well. He started off well. The middle was going Alireza's way, then back to Hikaru. So you said what must be done for Alireza going forward here. It looks like he needs to just play quickly. He's getting these time deficits out of the opening, and I think that's really coming back to haunt him game after game.
Yeah, because we know that a strategy that Alireza is ready to use, and rightfully so, because he's quite good at it, is flagging. And it's not just, when there's 1 second left that he's faster than Hikaru. I think he believes that if there's like 5 seconds left, that he will be able to flag Hikaru Nakamura. Like, he's confident in his mouse speed, and he's playing on the laptop, which we've made our jokes about it, but honestly, laptop, smaller screen. That's usually where you want to play your bullet chess. I know even when I'm streaming, you got that big monitor, but sometimes the very, very strong bullet players will actually shrink their board so that the mouse just simply travels less distance. So I think he's setting himself up to just be a very speedy player, but that's why it was just so weird. Those first couple games, Robert, he was so slow. We need to see him like get off to a better start, as you mentioned.
Well, let's see if we can do it here. He plays d4. Once again, Hikaru going the same system game after game, just trying to take over the light squares and play quickly and an early h3, h4 situation. I think that favors white.
Yeah, and we usually see like this bishop f2, eventual queen e1, and just targeting h4.
And look at this, where you can take on e4 and play knight g5. Yeah, this looks really good for white. The opening of the f file is not supposed to be good for black, and h4 is weak. e4 can be captured. Actually, can take it right now. And white's going up a pawn.
Yeah, the g5 pawn is loose. So
he allowed e3 because knight d5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. How quickly these things turn.
I know. Look how quickly Hikaru finds that move, capitalizes on it. Still manageable for Alireza. Actually, e3 falls. That can't be right.
No, that's a good news for Alireza to take on C3 pawn takes. He can take an F5 at any moment if he wants it. And look at this C5. He needs to get to the B file ASAP. Like he's going to rook F3, but Hikaru smartly played for B6.
Yeah, and Hikaru's got to play C5, right? At some point, get that moving.
I think so. And the H4 pawn is a target. Wait a second. Rook B7 check? Or
Yeah.
rook A4 first? This looks very dangerous for black.
That rook c4 move is really good. He's just going to pick that off. And if he can pick off the h4 pawn, now there's no checkmates to worry about like the last time.
Yeah, we just saw how that works out. And now f7 is falling. Once f7 falls, then e6 and g6 are very weak. This should be Alireza's game here.
100%. He's got an h-pawn that can run. He's winning every single pawn that Hikaru has. And the knight is just dominated by the bishop.
Wait, there's some kind of knight. No, there's no knight f1 check because the king can slide out to g2. But you know that drawing mechanism that sometimes is placed. And well, you're down a piece now, and Alireza has plenty of time to convert this.
Yeah, and I think Hikaru is probably playing on a little bit to do with the clock, not to do with any belief that he has a chance.
No, and this is smart because Hikaru has the experience of playing in all the speed chess championships. He knows that you should play the match clock. He's going to waste his remaining 10 seconds, and that is very smart gameplay by Hikaru Nakamura.
Yep, we saw Alireza's opponent. It didn't work out for him because he wasn't looking at the match clock. That's, of course, Artemiev. So Hikaru using the match clock for what it's supposed to be used for, running down when you're ahead. For
sure. In a casual game on stream, you resign that and go to the next game. But in a match like this, you have to let the clock tick. We saw what Artemiev, you just mentioned that. That was a disaster for Vladislav. So Hikaru Nakamura knows better. He's going to waste the time if it helps him. Wait a second. Is there some kind of knight takes G2 coming?
That would be very, very exciting to see a move like that with that bishop on b7 lined up.
Well, either way, this looks very promising for black because all your pieces are in perfect squares, but Hikaru playing quickly, trying to find an idea here, and there it is, d4.
And he goes quickly with that, walking into the pin with queen c3 and queen d2. I feel like Hikaru's kind of flailing with the queen, but it might work out.
Well, speaking of pins, the d-file pin is annoying, and the d4 pawn is in trouble. So, yep, you just won the d4 pawn. Actually, Alireza's outplaying Hikaru. Maybe he's moving a little too quickly.
Right. B2 is hanging here as well, but
sorry, F2 and rook takes G3 were a simultaneous threat, which is probably why he played bishop D4.
And that's just a much nicer way to do it. Like he stops at bishop D4. You might expect bishop B2 and pre-move in that situation.
Knight C6, bishop E5. Where's that rook going? If you go to... Okay, he just trades the rooks this way because he figures he's up 2 pawns here on opposite sides of the board. Yeah, I like that decision.
Really, really smart. Just don't blunder king f6 like some sort of knight d5. But yeah, really, really like that choice.
Okay, bishop c7. Keep your pawns protected. That knight. Ooh, I don't know about this because the h pawn is the wrong pawn. You want to give those h pawns because that's the wrong color corner.
Yeah, I still think this was the right decision. It's much easier to pre-move with black, and I think he was getting low on time. So I understand why he did that.
Yeah, for a few moves, I saw the eval bars, on our screen saying that, it's should be equal, but not in a bullet game and not with these split pawns like this. And this is going to be a win for Alireza.
Yeah, I actually don't really know why Hikaru didn't keep playing that position. Like just go king d1 and bishop c6. And like, I don't know. I think that if he's trying to run the match clock, I think he can run it for way longer than he just did.
Because I think you need to balance running the match clock with also your nerves. And if he kept playing and was losing, there's still some stress involved in e6 was just play. Like, there's a queen hanging on f5. But, there's some stress involved there. By the way, this looks absolutely terrible for black. Rook takes f7. It's winning on the spot.
Wow.
And then bishop g6, and then
bishop e8.
And bishop g5. Yeah, after the king goes to e7, bishop g5 was made. So Alireza storming back here. Knight d6, knight f7.
Yeah, he's just storming the castle right now. Queen e6, and this should be lights out. I said that these openings were really, really good for Alireza, and he's proving it here.
Yeah, he's up how many pawns right now? Is it 4? No, it's now 2 pawns, but it looks like more. And wow, c3, what a calm move just to win a piece. And Hikaru resigns, and it's an even match right now. It was 6-3 at the break. Whatever Alireza Firouzja did, let us know, because I want to know how to storm back into Hikaru Nakamura. It is a tied matchup.
And talk about running down the clock. Now you might want those 10 seconds that you ran off the clock earlier back. You might need them to come back if Alireza wins the next game.
Yeah, we have 8 minutes, 20 seconds remaining. And Alireza with the black pieces is taking a Hikaru-like approach because very solid. You see the b7, c6, f7, e6, the Artemiev-like approach too. And just saying, I have no real weaknesses, yet Hikaru game after game was up on the clock and has been honestly punishing Alireza for these setups.
It's true. C5, so probably see, I was going to say the C5 pawn taken, but he also gives up the bishop. I'm not sure about that decision.
Yeah, I think you wanted to keep the bishop here. That's a good call. The f5 pawn is very strong. It's protected. You see this little f7, e6, f5 configuration. Now the c file is open, so that should give black some chances here. But a5 is a big problem.
Yeah, and he's looking to gang up on this pawn. Bishop d4 and rook check is important.
And the rook is trapped on b4.
Wow.
Well, we talk about resigning at the same time. Look, Alireza resigns. Wow, you had a nice tactical sequence. That one's for you. Still 7.5 minutes remaining in this match.
Oh, and this looks like a good opening for white here to start off. Normally when you play the Queen's Gambit and play knight f6 and have to take with the knight early on, that's a nice way to get a bad position early on in bullet.
Yeah, it sort of looks like it's transitioned into a Grunfeld, but probably one that white is not unhappy about. Okay, this looks very awkward for black, but I guess the bishop on f6 for now is okay.
Bishop e2 is going to break the pin. And here, if there's like bishop d4, knight takes b2, I wonder how that works out.
And so he gets bishop c1, very calm move. Right. And this is a strange position. You don't get to see this every day, where the knight on c4 is very active, causing white some problems. But the bishop on f6 is very sturdy there, protected by the pawn. And the d4 squares can be black's for the taking.
Well, it can be and is at the moment. There's no fork on c2, so how about a fork on f5?
Wow. I think you can play bishop e3, because if you take on e4, queen e4, and there's bishop e6 mating ideas.
Incredible. Yeah, taking the knight, bishop e6.
Queen b3 is mate, or it's close to mate on the diagonal, right? The bishop on h8.
It's a good move. We'll put it that way. It's a damn good move.
Wow, this is very complicated. An e6 played.
Knight g5.
Yeah, that looks good. Now, just bishop e2. Just move the bishop back. All right, f3. This looks good too.
Rook c1 to c7. Knight takes e6.
Knight a6 works. He moved back. But a7 is hanging. You can take that pawn, and then b7 falls next.
Right.
Queen h3. How did he see that? It looked like you were losing a piece. And queen h3 forced the queen trade. And now that rook on the 7th rank looks really good for white. Take that
Here comes the knight. Here comes the knight. Knight e5.
Wow. And knight g4 back. Okay, but Hikaru fighting off here.
He really is. It's all about the time now. Bishop d5 coming soon. Careful of the clock here.
Yeah, I think that hangs a piece. Alireza was moving really quickly there. And rook, there's got to be some kind of mate somewhere.
Alireza, I think, did the right thing. He invested time, and now he's starting to pre-move once he's up the piece.
And now it's easy. You've up a piece, and that means the black king has a harder time finding squares. And it looks like Hikaru just throws in the towel, doesn't even want to compete with him in the time scribble. It is 7-all, still 5+ minutes remaining. Amon, the first match today, it felt like that match went by very quickly. This feels like it's going slowly. Still 5 minutes left. We've had so much excitement.
Yeah, and I actually I disagree with Hikaru there not playing on. I understand that, the superstar young Alireza is so fast. He's the favorite in the time scramble. But hey, you got to put your skills to the test. Hikaru already showed earlier on that he can flag Alireza. He's a fast player. I'd like to see him play those on.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think knight d4 now is kind of forced for Firouzja. His rook is in danger of getting trapped on f5. So this trade is very strange. You don't see this very often with his pawn structure. 2 sets of double pawns.
Yeah, look at these pawns.
He's crashing through on the queen side. That's his goal.
Yeah, and that g5 move, forcing the bishop back to d8, is quite strong here. You do have to watch out for the f4 pawn, though, and d5 coming. Such a strong move.
And he wants to go bishop c7. Wait, bishop b6. Wow. I was like, wait, the rook's still hanging there. And he just plays like this and takes on g5 because the rook's hanging.
Firouzja, stop. That was absolutely sick, that whole sequence.
That was unreal that he saw all that. And he's protecting g7, so no checkmates for white. And now the pawn structure is slightly better for black because of this isolated f5 pawn. Good move by Hikaru, the rook g6. Oh, trade everything.
I'm not sure this works for Hikaru.
King f6. And if you play h5, king g5. King h5? Okay, just push
e5 and maybe h5 there was actually a really cool move.
But this is queen b6 check, and there are no stalemates because of the present a3 pawn.
Wow. That game was insane. Honestly, masterpiece from Firouzja. It didn't look like much because they're very small tactical subtleties, but just to be able to come out of that position with c6, small things, rook takes g5, and then taking the endgame confidently.
And from 6-3 down to 8-7 up, Alireza is on a tear right now. He gets the white pieces in this game. He's going for the bishop pair. He could take on g6. Yeah. Now he has both bishops against 2 knights, but the position's closed, so kind of easy for the knights to maneuver around. And I'm not sure about this decision to trade on d4. I think that hurts black's king.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. It's important that white got to play bishop takes d5, though. The fact that black doesn't get to anchor a knight there really hurts his chances, and Naka is just worse in this endgame.
Yeah, bishop c3, trading rooks. The h3 pawn can't be captured with back rank checkmates. So
Right.
look at Alireza go. He's just trading down. Oh, that rook can go with a check.
Yeah, didn't love
Oh, it's extra pawn. I think we love it once more.
I was gonna say I didn't love the way he somehow just lost the clean pawn there, but I love the way he won a clean pawn there. So
And king c5, king b6. Okay, with these positions in classical chess. Oh well, not even in classical chess anymore. Rook b3.
Is this should be winning?
Yeah, you just bring the king around. King e6.
And I would say if it's not enough, it should be enough in bullet.
Well, look at the clock though. Hikaru's way ahead on time. G5. Oh no, he could not allow that move. He resigns because he understands there's just over 2 minutes left, and it's a 2-game lead for Alireza Firouzja. So even if this goes the distance, Hikaru might just have enough time to start one more game.
This game is this game is for the finals. Robert, put it that way. I think that Hikaru is probably decently happy with his opening, but he needs to get that rematch in really quick.
Yeah, if I'm Alireza, I'm never resigning. I'm going. Yeah. If I'm losing this game, I am playing until I have negative time remaining because you want that match clock to run out. Hikaru playing very quickly here with the white pieces. I'm not even sure I like white's position practically speaking. Now I do after that trade.
I love it.
Yeah, look at those pawns going. Oh, okay. I changed my mind real quick. Look at that pawn chain, the bishop on g2 unopposed in the long diagonal. Looking very good for Hikaru right now.
Yeah, and he keeps the rook on the board. Rook f1. Is there some knight discovery? Not really. There's no good moves.
Oh, I don't know about that. Letting the pawn chain. Look at the light squares.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but maybe he has a blockade because when you have this locked up structure like this, how are you going to break through? You need a knight for white to get to d5 or something like that.
Right, and he's just looking to trade pieces, go a5, stay all on the dark squares, and say, "Hey, you can't beat me." I don't buy it, but it's the right strategy. I mean, it might be frustrating to play against.
And look at this. Your g5 is going to be played. H takes h. Oh, throws in g6 check, but now it's totally locked up.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You needed maybe to play g takes h6. I think Hikaru will regret that. He might still win this game, but I think
oh, that was sick.
Oh, bishop takes g7 as well.
That was so sick. Oh my gosh, we're just talking about the positions locked up, but he saw the queen trade and the tactics of the passed pawns. And speaking of passed pawns, there are multiple. It is a win in a second here. Don't move, Alireza. It doesn't matter. There's going to be one more game. So you can resign. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And we have one last game. That was exceptional by Hikaru Nakamura.
Bishop takes h6, bishop g7, pre-move, Robert, because he knew that e7 was a threat as well as g7. Totally sick. But now we're in the most important game of the entire match, a must-win game for Hikaru Nakamura. This decides who goes to the final.
And here I think white should have queen f3. Good move. Keep the center as close as possible because you don't want to see that bishop hit the e4 pawn. The b4 pawn was captured, and look at that move very quickly by Hikaru. Knight c5, trying to go after the e4 pawn. White is up one, but the bishops look good for black.
Yeah, and if Hikaru wins this, we will have that, coveted tiebreak that we've seen before. But if Alireza draws the game or wins it, that's enough to send him through.
And look at this decision by Alireza by b5. If bishop ever took on d4, you could just trade off and then you win the b5 pawn, but that's not going to give you the most winning chances for Hikaru. And speaking of winning chances, where are they?
Yeah, Alireza got a great position now after h4. However, sometimes these solid positions, when you try to break through and go for mate, they don't work.
Oh, there might have been a rook c5 tactic there to hit the d5 pawn, but either way, what is black going to do here? There's some kind of queen c4. Oh my gosh, just taking like king e2.
Yeah, I think this is a good endgame for white, but bishop b4, big threat.
Yes, but
Hikaru can't repeat.
No, he can't repeat. Just look at this. King e2, rook c7 check, throw in the checks. Rook b7.
Look at the time, though. Hikaru is in a position where he can... Rook a3 is a blunder because rook takes e7.
So rook b7. How do you... Bishop e7? Oh, bishop e7 was a possibility. I don't know if it's good, though. And Hikaru's doing his best. His king is around. 14 seconds for Alireza. So check. When's the 50 move roll? You throw in a pawn move at some point.
Yeah, he will play g4, I think, at some point.
And there it is. There it is. He throws it in.
He's up more than 10 seconds. This is Hikaru.
Oh, bishop b4. Oh, yeah, bishop b4 at that moment. And
now he plays it.
Oh, but look at that move. Throwing in the check just to gain some time. This is actually expert bullet. Oh, the rooks! The rooks! Oh, and he had the match. He had the tie, but he lost his rook. He's losing all of his pawns.
He just has to take the pawn. That's it. That's the match.
That's it.
Hikaru You can't pre-move there.
Oh, he had that game. And Alireza Firouzja, for the second day in a row, he wins because of this sneaky little take something pre-move, winning the game. And that is that. Alireza Firouzja smiles. He works his way to the finals of the Bullet Chess Championship, and he will face Andrew Tang. That wasn't even the final. We still have a whole other match.
I feel like that was the final. And oh my goodness, I can't believe it. To Alireza's credit, that was not a dirty move. He played rook c2, protected by his king. He simply wanted to trade. So that wasn't like any of the other moves we've seen from Alireza, but it worked out just the same. Hikaru should not be pre-moving there. Why? He had such a time lead, Robert. He just needed to put his rook safe and then pre-move the king, and leaving his rook exposed there. My goodness, he gets punished for it. We will not see Hikaru Nakamura in the finals. And Alireza, in dramatic fashion, reminds us that semifinals can be exciting too, Robert.
Both of these matches were extremely exciting, down to the wire, and Alireza was down 3 points against Hikaru Nakamura, and yet he makes his way to the finals. Alireza, I think, got in Hikaru's head a bit. Some of those time scrambles were going Alireza's way, so Hikaru said, I need a pre-move, because even though he may have 5 seconds remaining, that's enough time for Alireza to play, and that rook was left hanging for a couple moves there, because Alireza started pre-moving his king away, and the rook stayed in each other's path. That was a amazing save by Alireza there. He moves on to face Andrew Tang. And Aman, before we go to break, what do you make of this finale? Andrew Tang versus Alireza Firouzja.
Two people that are on top of their game right now. I can't wait to see the time scrambles between them, because they are both capable of some of the most insane moves, pre-moves, dirty moves at the right time, calculating pre-moves that we've ever seen from any player in this competition. The two most deserving players are definitely in the final, and they're both young, talented, super speedy guys who back it up with tactics and good chess, Robert. So I can't wait to get back in. Let's save the hot takes for after the break.